Ever find yourself down a rabbit hole, fascinated by those relationships where, the age difference kind of jumps out at you?
Oh, absolutely. Those relationships where people are like, wait, how old are they? It definitely gets people talking.
Exactly. And that's our deep dive today. Age gap relationships,
Mm.
especially those with a difference of, say, 10 years or more. We're going to unpack all of it, the perceptions, the potential benefits, the hurdles, and see if love truly can conquer that age gap.
It's really interesting, right? Because we often jump to those societal reactions, the whispers, the judgments, without really understanding the dynamics at play within these relationships.
It's like we see the age difference and make all these assumptions. So let's break it down. Why do age gap relationships sometimes get that side eye from society?
Well, if you think about it, historically, marriage was often about, well, security, financial security, social standing, especially for women. An age gap usually meant one partner, typically the older one, held more power. Now, things have evolved, but those perceptions, they kind of stick around, leading to this idea that these relationships are transactional.
That historical context is so important. But shifting gears to today's relationships, are there genuine upsides to being with someone at a different life stage?
Definitely think about it. Different perspectives, a wealth of different experiences. It can be incredibly enriching for both people. You might have one partner who brings stability and wisdom to the table, while the other brings, the youthful energy, a fresh way of seeing things.
Right, like that whole "you make me feel young again" thing. But let's be real, it can't all be smooth sailing. What about those curveballs these couples might face?
Oh, they're definitely there. Dealing with judgment from family or friends can be really tough. Plus, you have the potential for different priorities, like one person's dreaming of backpacking through Europe while the other's thinking about retirement. And of course, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. Health and longevity do come into play as couples age.
Those are some real conversations couples need to have. And
Yeah.
that's where hearing those real-life stories can be so eye-opening.
Exactly. There are couples who thrive despite those challenges. Dr. Jenna Smith, a researcher who studies age gap relationships, found that couples who successfully deal with societal pressure use a communication technique she calls reflective validation. It's basically about acknowledging and validating each other's feelings, especially when those feelings come from outside pressures. Then on the flip side, there are couples where that age gap became this insurmountable obstacle, maybe because of diverging life goals or, unresolved resentments.
So what's the secret sauce? What did those successful couples show us about making it work?
You know what they say? Communication is key. Well, it's even more crucial in age gap relationships. It all comes down to honestly discussing those expectations, anxieties about the future, and those individual dreams we all have.
Being on the same page is huge. And what about shared interests? Can those help bridge that gap?
100%. That common ground, whether it's a shared love for, I don't know, classic movies or maybe a passion for hiking, it can really connect people. And this
Mhm.
is important, respecting each other's individuality is non-negotiable. Each person brings their own unique story to the relationship, and recognizing and valuing those differences is super important.
Right. We've talked about those societal views, the potential positives, the very real challenges, but I'm curious, what does the research actually say?
It's fascinating. A recent study in the Journal of Social Psychology actually found that relationship satisfaction in couples with large age gaps wasn't just about like having the same hobbies. It was more strongly linked to something called dyadic coping, which is how well couples work together to handle stress and challenges as a team. There's even some research suggesting that some couples with larger age gaps report higher levels of relationship satisfaction, maybe because they really appreciate those differences.
Wow, that's really interesting. But at the end of the day, it's about more than just a number, right?
Absolutely. It's about emotional maturity, shared values, mutual respect. Those are the cornerstones.
100%. And those are essential for any healthy relationship, not just those with an age gap. That open communication, respect, shared values, those are non-negotiables. So, as we wrap up our deep dive, what's that one thing you really want our listeners to ponder?
Instead of focusing on the years between two people, maybe we should think about the quality of their connection. That's where the real story is.